Hey.
Hello, hello. It seems that we are now live. It's an interesting day because we have a different setup. What I mean by that is internal setup because we don't have Trap with us. Trap usually takes care of everything related to the stream.
There we go.
But today he couldn't join. He had to attend an emergency. We wish him the best, but the show must continue. And today I'm here with Cobi to talk about perhaps the most important topic of this entire week, which is a lot of things are happening with the agentic space, specifically in regards to utilizing either OpenClaw or Hermes. And we have been trying to discover what's really best and how to bring it in a way that you, as a viewer, can say, you know what, this actually makes sense. Or, you know what, this doesn't make any sense and it's just propaganda, right? There is a lot of marketing, there is a lot of hype. We are builders in the space and we're trying to find the signal. But even for us, it's sometimes a challenge. And in
Mhm.
today's episode, we are going to teach you what we have learned and what you can do today, right? Kobe, how are you doing today, my man?
I'm doing okay. I'm funny enough. I'm actually been walking with a cane the past couple days, but it's like the coolest cane ever. It's got 3 little legs and it's got like a like it can move. So pretty cool. But yeah, like what you said. Well, I'm doing good. Besides that, it's Friday, man. I love the weekends more than I've ever used to because now that's when I get to kind of like go heads down for at least like a good chunk of the weekend and keep building. But I do. It's funny that you said something about hype because, and maybe we can get into it when we kind of like get into a little AI news segment. But for those who are building with AI, they know you guys know that Anthropic basically blocked everyone out of like using their Claude Code subscription with like OpenClaw, Hermes, and basically any agent harness or agent framework. And I don't know if you saw this, but they also announced their latest model, Claude Mythos. Apparently, it's so good that they are not going to make it generally available. Like the public can't have it. Have you seen that?
I had seen that, and then I saw a bunch of news that were claiming, you know what, this is a strategy that these people actually do, and they
Market.
share.
Yeah.
Yeah, marketing essentially. You know, you have what is the name of the CEO of the Anthropic CEO,
Uh,
Dario?
uh, what?
Anthropic CEO's name is Dario Amodei or something.
Yeah,
Okay,
Dario.
the thing
Yep,
is
yep,
that
that's
this
right.
guy used to be like VP of OpenAI or something like
Yep.
that a few years ago, and he
Mhm.
was using exactly the same script. And they showed some, you know, some sort of screenshot about how they were utilizing the same thing for GPT-2. Like, it's too good, we're not gonna release it for OpenAI, and now they're doing the same thing with Anthropic.
It's funny, dude, because I thought the same thing. Within 5 minutes of like reading this like project, I can't remember what it's called, Open Glass or something like that, about the Mythos model. I was thinking, I'm like, man, this makes me want to use the model so much because it's like, we're humans, we want what we can't have. Which honestly, I took some notes. Like, this is a really good strategy for marketing for us because I was, for those who have been watching us for a while, we've got a bunch of apps in the chamber that we're about to ship. And I've been thinking, I'm like, to get testers, but like advertise that there's closed testing and only certain people can use something, and people automatically just want that more. We've seen that in crypto with like airdrops stuff as well. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But I'll tell you what, though, since they did that, I've been able to use more Claude Code like directly in the harness, like every week and every 5 hours. Like, there's more compute available because people aren't spamming their OpenClaw with with their Claude subscription. So that's kind of cool. So it's like a happy accident.
A happy accident, but it comes at a cost, right?
Oh yeah.
Because actually, before we get okay, let me first set the stage of what we're gonna be doing today. So the first thing that we're gonna do is to talk about what is the situation currently with the ShipYard, right? 2 months back, we started with the ShipYard while we entered the spam.fun hackathon. It wasn't the best, to say the least, in terms of what the support that they provided, visibility and whatever. We did manage, though, to build the first, let's say, open source community of builders on pump.fun. Probably if you're watching this, we are there right now. And we are, if you look at our chart, which we're going to review today, it doesn't look like your standard meme coin pump and dump. It actually looks like something that could take off. But for that to work, we need to work on the distribution aspect. And that led us, Web3 Matters, to entirely revamp our organization in a way that is powered by agents. And that has become the main thing for us and for our content, because we realize on the journey that this is the most transformational technology in the entire world, and we are now in a position to see the results. The past week, you saw that we 10x our marketing efforts and results just by minor tweaks on AI for project coordination, project content creation, and that kind of very simple
The
stuff. It's not
thumbnails,
like super advanced.
thumbnails have been fire by Trav, and I know he's been like leaning more into Claude, using Claude for help. So
Yeah,
pretty
it's
sick.
like just minor tweaks with big results, and in a very realistic way, meaning that you don't need to be really a developer in order to do all of this stuff. And we actually ship an entire mini course for you to start building with AI on the sector of crypto. And using AI as well, like inside your application. Why? Because we think that this is the most powerful combination that nobody is exploring, right? Anyway, so this is the first thing. We're gonna do a general overview of where we are and what we want to do next, so that you all are on the same page as us and you know how to benefit from it.
Right.
And then we're gonna go straight into the main topic of today's conversation, which is trying to figure out what the hell is going on with this OpenClaw versus Hermes situation. Is it worth it? What are people saying? What did we find? And what we encourage you to do? And this is going to become a nice segue into the final topic of conversation, which is about AI ownership, or in other words, owning your intelligence. Today, we are going to discuss if it's actually worth it for you to take a little bit more of effort and payment upfront for having your own infrastructure that you can run for your agentic company. Yeah,
Totally.
and this is a nice summary. Cobi, what are your thoughts here?
Well, I'm stoked. I can't wait. I'm most excited for the ownership conversation because, like, yeah, I'm most excited for that. And we are joined by we do have a guest today as well, and he did just drop in the lobby, so I'm gonna let him in. Here we go.
What's
Eric.
up? What's up? How's everything?
Oh, we're chilling, man. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate you. How's the weather down there? Your profile picture looks like it's great weather.
Yeah, it's actually really good today. It's been raining, but everything's good.
Heck
Unfortunately, I would have my cam on, but just not ready. You guys look great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah,
Uh,
fresh. I got the fresh shiny top ready for the stream, dude. So Quantic was just like introducing what we're talking about. You might have saw the title of the stream. And this is actually like, dude, I'm glad that I asked you to join us because I think that you're from what I know about you, this is like a perfect topic for you to weigh in on. And like I said in the messages, like we've started off a few years ago, kind of just focusing on Web3. And we did like the spaces and stuff like that. And I won't give you our whole backstory, but we've been going hard. We've got, 3 different paperclip companies, one specifically just for like our operations. But yeah, dude, if you want to introduce yourself real quick, we're going to jump and then I'll kick it back to Quantic after. And then we've got, then we'll jump into that next convo if you're down.
Perfect. Yeah, and also let me know if the background noise is loud. I'm just like outside chilling.
Yeah, it sounds good to me, man. Sounds good right now.
That's good. Yeah.
So yeah, a little bit about me. I mean, I have an agency in the space. As far as like online business, I've been doing online business for about 6 years now. So I've been running an agency for a few years, and recently, last year, I kind of got into the whole agentic scene. So I just started using different tools, Klein, Rue, Claude, the basic stuff. And at the time, what I noticed is you can pretty much automate most of the workflow and development without really needing to know what you're doing. And that was a year ago. And what I really realized is that, it's going to get better. It's just kind of not where it needs to be. And recently, January is when OpenClaw took off, and I kind of started looking into it. So literally, as soon as I found it, for every hour of the day, probably broke 10 to 15 OpenClaw setups on different software, on different OS, on Windows, on Mac. I ran them through different models, just kind of trying to figure it out, and what I noticed is it was really good, but still not where it needed to be. So I just ended up kind of figuring it out, using Opus, pioneering my own setup, and building what should have been built. And what I noticed, every other update afterwards is kind of catching up to what I was already building, even though I don't really have much like experience building stuff, but I'm pretty, well versed in just figuring stuff out. So that's kind of my take. And then I built a specific tool for OpenClaw. It's called ClawSuite. That's my first rendition of like your AI agent, but ChatGPT meets everything else. Because like when you use OpenClaw, it's great. You just chat with it. But when it spawns agents, when it's doing other things, you don't really know what's going on. So I just figured out, hey, I might as well just build something that does that. So I built that first, and then Hermes took off, and then they had a hackathon. And literally in one day, because I noticed the hackathon was going to expire, and I just didn't have anything built. So I said, hey, I might as well just fork what I built for OpenClaw and just build it for their stuff, which is the same interface tool. Because Hermes just is on your terminal. And I figure like, hey, most people that are probably new to this don't want to be on a terminal, don't really know what it is. So let me just make it simpler. And I forked it pretty much in a day. And then I built it here day after day. And now it's just crossed 1,000 stars on GitHub today, actually. So that's pretty much what I've been doing, and taking off on X. I had about 400 followers maybe like 2 weeks ago, and now I'm at 3.4K. I hit like 4 million impressions in the last couple of weeks, just reposting stuff, being more straight to the point, about this is what you should do, open source models here and there. And people honestly, like it. So that's kind of a short story.
Bro, that's such a sick story. Well, first of all, congrats on the 1K stars. I know that's pretty sick. And then now that you're compounding that with the growth on X. So good job, man. I think that's super killer that you were able to jump in that hackathon last minute too. So it's funny that we're talking about Hermes, OpenClaw, and ownership, which is my favorite part of the conversation that we're getting to. Also, if you want to drop like a link in DMs to me to like whatever, maybe the GitHub repo or something, it's the first time I'm ever using StreamYard, so I can maybe see if I can figure out how to put the link on screen. But Quantic, let me kick it back to you if you want to kind of set things up for this next convo.
Yeah, I think there is an interesting opportunity here to talk about how we can actually use from his perspective, right? Like this is an entrepreneur that already has more experience with us building online businesses, right? If he has been doing this for 6 years, and we have been doing this for just I don't know how long. Probably it makes sense for us and for our audience, and even for him to share like his expertise to do a short review of what we have built and how we could use all of these agentic tools to really optimize for revenue, right? Because there is a strong one of the things that we have seen in building the ShipYard is going to revenue is not that easy, at least when you are in the crypto space as well. Just to give you some more context, I'm going to share here my screen real quick and hope for the best. So, okay, what are you seeing here? This is the Web3 Matters / ShipYard website. The ShipYard basically is our attempt to build a community of builders in the crypto times AI space that are trying to, make the best out of it. And we have created a system. We are utilizing token incentives for people to just come build with us, adopt the token, and just open source whatever they can. And we give them mini grants. We give them all the educational materials. We give them all the things that we are working on in terms of tooling, so that we are kind of all on the same page, just trying to build cool things and see where this can take us as a ecosystem of builders. I think that there is a lot of growth to be done in these regards. And just so you know, how Ship works is, you can consider as the coordination layer for this ShipYard initiative. The idea is just to align incentives and rewards using for testing and distribution with mini grants. Okay, so I guess that Cobi, I don't want to go into details of the apps that we have built or the mini courses,
Totally. We can
but
save that for another
rather,
day.
yeah, I don't even want to go over the chart. By the way, you can open here the nice chart just as a proof of not pump and fund or dump. You can see here that this chart looks very different from most meme coins. I just want to make that clear so that people understand that this is not like your standard meme coin thing just because we launched via pump.fund. Now, the question here would be, how do we go about from this idea to practical implementations that would take us to get revenue as fast as possible utilizing OpenClaw and any other modern AI tools?
Right. So yeah, Eric, that kind of like, yeah, let's let you take that question. So like basically how we're using Hermes and OpenClaw agents within like Paperclip. We have basically one main like Paperclip company, and we've got, of course, like an orchestrator agent at the top, and then we've got a couple different content agents. I had the luxury of being able to basically rebuild everything from scratch over the last week since Claude kind of hit us with that you can't use OpenClaw anymore with OpenClaw. So it's like, dude, all right, I'm gonna use this. I know I was breaking shit. I had some weird ass config probably because of what you mentioned earlier. It's really difficult to have visibility on that stuff. So if you were us, right, if you were starting like a community with that does have a token, but basically as we ship apps, we're connecting the token to or around these different applications and like these little mini courses. Like if you didn't if you could like start it from scratch, could you give us any pointers or some alpha, like how you would do it if you were us?
Yeah, so I mean, the entire crypto scene is really viral. So what I would do is try to proof of concept what you guys already did myself with something minimal in the space, which you guys already kind of have. I see here, it looks really great. So exactly kind of what you guys already have. What I would do is just make it more user friendly for people that may not understand it as much, because most people in your space do understand it, and that's like the benefit of like the crypto space. And a lot of people that don't necessarily might not even entertain it because they think it's just like he was saying, pump and dump, pump fun type of thing. So I think that's like the biggest use case I see there, just making it more generally available. Because when I build stuff and I look at it, it's the same thought process. Because when I'm like, hey, who wants to use a terminal if they're just starting out? Nobody wants to use a terminal. People want like ChatGPT. Like when you go on ChatGPT, you literally just type it and you get exactly what you want. You don't see what's going on in the background. You see tool calls and stuff, whatever. But that's my approach and kind of how I simplified everything.
It's almost like,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say with Paperclip, it's really good. I haven't specifically used it because I kind of built my own version of it, kind of just from what I've been doing. And every day that I've been talking to my agent and the loops I have, and I find something like Paperclip or something else, I'm like, hey, how does this compare to what I just built? And we're like, oh, cool, this is kind of exactly what we're building. Their difference is this, we have this. So, okay, can we just add these things that they have that we don't? and how do we continuously build it to be better? That's kind of like the loop I have.
And that's what makes open source so great. I mean, on the last couple of streams, I've been like evangelizing open source, and again, we'll like get into the ownership conversation. But that's like if you want to change Paperclip to make it yours, or if I went and got tried like Hermes, your Hermes Workspace or the OpenClaw one, like I can grab it and then I can build on top of it. I can customize it to our specific needs and so on and so forth. So open source is going to win for sure. So yeah, okay, cool. Some good advice there. And then what about, all right, so we have one of our agents that helps with like content. We have this like weekly loop. And for those watching, you guys, you know, after the stream, if you're curious about how that marketing loop works and or how we designed it, we talked about it last week and then 3 weeks before that when we were planning it. But when after switching to Hermes, I decided, all right, I'm going to leave almost all the memory that it had accumulated in OpenClaw and just start fresh, give it a clean slate. Maybe there was some fucked up memory that was like contradicting itself before, but now it can't just like automatically read memory and remember that Quantic yelled at him last week because he sucks about X, Y, or Z. So in terms of like building, you know, I previously would have called this like building a knowledge base, right? With just like chatbot, like, you know, maybe 6 months or a year ago, but obvious, like building the things around an agent that make it better. Like, would you say the best approach is just like get into the chat with it and go back and forth? Or what would be your approach if you were like, damn, I spun this agent up and he's just isn't behaving or acting like I want him to?
Yeah, good question. And that's kind of what I was seeing when I migrated from OpenClaw to Hermes, because I started on OpenClaw with everything and I dialed that agent in pretty good. So what I noticed is even migrating that agent to Hermes, it's not going to be exactly the same. It still performs really good. But what I really noticed is you just need to lay everything out. Initially, when I started, you know, working with these agents, I used ChatGPT to give me the longer prompts, the bigger context, the more information about me that it had from memory. So I just kind of injected the agent that I was working with that stuff, and then just talking through it here and there. Hey, this is what I need to build. This is my use case. What can we do? What do you have access to? If not, what should you get access to? So I gave it different skills for browser use. It has access to my other computers on my network. So it, for example, it runs local models on those computers. It benchmarks stuff for me. And then I also connected X on there. I even connected my business with it. So I just keep talking to it, figuring out what it doesn't have access to, getting it access to that. And then, of course, the most important thing is having the best model paired with it. Opus 4.6 is definitely the best one for normal conversations. You know, you just talk to it like it's pretty much like a human. GPT 5.4 is really good with the right framework and setup behind it. I posted a framework that I had Opus figure out for GPT 5.4 that pretty much made it have the same outputs as Opus. It's really good. It's just a little more babysitting. So if you have more patience, you can use these other models. The $20 Codex plan is really good. I have 3 of those. You know, they just launched the $100 plan, so now I can upgrade to that one because I had the $200 Claude plan. I'm like, I don't want two $200 plans.
Yeah,
you know,
dude, that's what we've been doing. We've been paying for two $200 plans, and
yeah,
we can't. That's like, all right, the 2 months of this little test that like first I was trying to have it trade on Polymarket. I'm like, okay, cool. It's gonna make $200 a month. It's gonna pay for one of the fucking subscriptions. Blah blah blah. You know, of course, it's all that easy, right? Yeah, cool. So
yeah, exactly. And what I noticed with the trading stuff, I kind of just got into it with a set of agents myself. I gave it a repo that I found that does a certain loop, researching and things like that. So that's what I'm really going to start testing next is the Polymarket stuff. And I have it set up. If I can share my screen, I could show you.
Yeah, dude, go ahead. If you try, and I'll see if I can pull it up.
Yeah, I think we should try. And in the meantime, while we configure this, just want to clarify a few things. So first of all, what we already can conclude from watching this stream is that your setup for this whole AI agent systems, whatever, is extremely important. It's not like it's just driven by hype and everybody is trying to sell you this. It's like it makes a complete difference in terms of what you can get out of it. So it's worth spending the time on it, right?
Yeah, 100%. That is the first thing you need to do is spend as much time if you have to dial in your agent, figure out what skills it needs, access to certain things. Don't give it too much access to certain things like your emails, stuff like that. When I initially figured all this out and people are like scared, I said I'll just give it a brand new user on my Mac. It won't be an admin. So it literally runs on another user on my MacBook Pro. It doesn't have access to anything but what I give it, and it only has access to the things that I give it to. So it's pretty much sandboxed inside of my computer without actually having a sandbox. So that's kind of what I learned, and just throughout the memory, I have a giant memory file. This is the operations that I was going to show you guys, but I'll just show you the memory of how much memory it has. And this is the ClawSuite for OpenClaw agents. So I have 200 memory files, which go all the way back to, I guess I had some cleanups, but it goes all the way back to January. And what I did was clean up most of like the repetitive ones, which is here right here, clean up to save some space because it does have space. So it does index all the memory that I have, and it works pretty good. It's definitely worth it.
Bro, this is clean, by the way. This looks really good. Quantic, we're gonna have to get this give this a test drive for sure. And my favorite part is I see you can edit. You got the edit button over there, right?
Oh yeah, you can edit your memory and do whatever you need.
That's it. Because I have it on my old gaming. I have all of our agents in like Docker containers, like each like right now we just have 3 Hermes gateways and they're just each Dockerized. There's like, it's I wipe the computer. I'm like, okay, this is yours. Just don't blow it up. But I don't always want to go to that box, and I'm just like, if I'm 5 feet away and I'm on my laptop, I still don't want to get my fat ass up and go to the box.
No,
so
definitely. And what I did was, go ahead.
Perhaps you want to finish this because it might switch a little bit the topic.
Okay, cool. So inside the program, this is just OpenClaw, but visually. So all the skills I have added in here are all dialed in here. It even has like a skill finder if I want to go search up a skill from the Claw Hub registry and add a new one. I really haven't had to add any new skills from my first initial setup, but I have it all integrated so you can just go ahead and search and add whatever you need. As far as the operations, what I was mentioning with you guys for the specific Polymarket stuff, this is my version of Paperclip that I built. This is like the main agent chat if I want to still chat with my agent. And then down here are the agents that I configured. So when you set them up, you give them a name, an emoji, you set your model. After you set your model, their description, and then the system prompt. So for the trading one, this is how I set it up. It's specifically for Polymarket. It's role, what it does, anything like that that's specific. And then I configure the agent. It has a certain crons that it runs right here. So it scans, digests, and then calibrate. And it also then runs through the main agent. So this is all GPT 5.4, which is pretty free usage because it has the Open AI Plus account. And then after they run, the outputs are right here. So the trader one is right here. So it's just giving me signals right now for certain things. I'm developing it more today to give me more detailed stuff so I can start placing trades. But this is just like a view of like kind of what it shows. I also have one that does, I also have one that does X stuff. So this one I just set up, it scrapes different places. It even drafts me tweets, and they're actually really good tweets, and they're actually really factual. It finds out about open models and things like that, so I can post, so I don't really need to always go out there. And then my agency, it's connected to group chats, so it sees and lets me know specific things about my group chats. So all of that is built in.
Are these all in one OpenClaw gateway? Like, do they know each other, if that makes sense?
Yeah. So the orchestrator agent right here, it's called Aurora Mine, and then these are all separate agents that are configured. I dialed it in with the main agent, and I had it visually just build this out so other people can use it. And this is gonna be live soon. I'm just kind of testing it a little more, but it's pretty much Paperclip with OpenClaw, and you have control of it. You can do whatever you want. Um, it's really really killer. Something else I built was this, which is like Conductor, which is like launching missions. These are like the agents that I have running. You can go in here and set a mission. It runs it. It shows you the output. So pretty much like build something. It runs a loop with different agents if you wanted to, and builds a project. So more of what OpenClaw does, but visually and with a better view. So that's kind of like the two things that I'm like, hey, OpenClaw really needs this. I have all my sessions in here. So I go in here and I talk to my, this is ChatGPT pretty much, but it's powered by OpenClaw. And this is the agent. These are like, if it's running any sub agents, they spawn here. If it's doing anything, it tells me here. And then it has like a dashboard. So this is kind of how I keep track of everything. And it's all built by OpenClaw. I built this all by, initially I built this in February. So it's been around for a long time. I use it to build everything I build. And it works pretty much exactly what, every OpenClaw should have. The full visual layer.
Sick, dude. Go ahead, Quantic.
Yeah. So my main question here, well, it's actually two pieces because first of all, Eric, thank you so much for sharing this. It's like we are going full speed with all like the latest way of utilizing this stuff in production, right? For building businesses, which is precisely what we want to like cover, right? But one thing to take into account is that most of our audience, they're just getting started, right? So first of all, okay, the first question would be, we did conclude that you really need to spend some time configuring all of this and it's worth it. Then the question would be, why is worth it to do this stuff, right? From a business perspective, right? If you want to start your online business, why really should I spend that much time configuring all of this stuff, which it doesn't seem trivial?
Yeah, so what I see and what I've seen for like a year now is everything's going towards AI. Obviously, since ChatGPT's came around, it's been like that, but it's not where everyone wants it to be. So what I noticed from all the years of kind of working with it is everyone will have their own personal AI agent, and every business will have their own set of agents. When you do work with another business or an individual, your agents will do all the handshake, data transferring, everything. Obviously, it's more security aspect. It's not really done like that now, but everyone will just work through their agents. Their agents know everything. If somebody tells me something, if I have a call with somebody, I tell my agent. I give it a summary of what the call is because I have like automations. It gives me follow-ups, what to do next, how to build it, the best way to do it, research stuff. I automate as many things as I can. So the most time you can spend setting up these things for yourself, you can improve your workflows, your business, and also just be more efficient, with everything. I even
Right.
use it for personal conversations with potential like people that I want to work with. Hey, this person
Yeah.
just pitched me this. What should I do? And it just works. That's pretty much what everyone needs to do.
Exactly. I think that that's the key point because there is one confusion that I see on people, specifically from the outside when you're just getting started, which is like disregard most of this stuff because it looks like it's made for productivity maxi and people who wants to optimize everything, which of course is true that if you use this, you will be able to 10x everything, right? Realistically, and we have experienced that firsthand. But bottom line, I think that what you mentioned is key here, which is like it's the inevitable future that all of the business things related to online and software stuff are going to be powered one way or another by agents. So it's just like something you will have to embrace eventually, right? And we are kind of the early adopters in that regards. So now the next question for you would be, how do I actually do the transition? Let's assume that I'm a regular user of ChatGPT, and then I just started using Claude Code to do my first vibe coded app. I'm not technical at all, and I'm just getting started and want to try and make some money online. How do I get from there, from just first-time buy coder, let's say, to someone that is actually using these tools in an effective way in production for business?
That's a really good question, honestly. And the viewers, you guys are definitely in for a treat with these questions. That's great. The first thing you need to do is analyze your use case. What do you need? What do you need from it? And kind of what you want to build. Because at the stage right now, you can build anything you want. So it's really what you want to build. I have friends that want to use it, that need to make a portfolio for their stuff, but they don't know how to use it. And I tell them, hey, all you have to do is just go on your computer. You can set it up locally. Another user, if you want, old computer that you have, just connect anything that you have to it. Your open AI Plus subscription works fine. You can literally just type it in ChatGPT. How do I install OpenClaw? How do I install Hermes? Gives you a few commands, you run it, you set it up. You can prompt ChatGPT back and forth to help you, really. If you don't have access to that, you can find us on Twitter or anybody on X and just kind of ask them as well. It's pretty much all out there. So the first thing I would do is just setting it up. Then I would just have ChatGPT give it, hey, summarize me, what I am, what I do. This is what I need to use it for. Give me a prompt, send it back to it. It learns, it adjusts who you are, sets everything up, and then that's your day one. So every day or every session, you want a different goal. First day, you want to get to know it. What can it do? What it needs access to. Second day, hey, I need to build a portfolio for all my videos that I've edited. I want other people to be able to see it. How do we do this? Okay, it'll help you spin up a website. Okay, how do I get it on the internet now? It'll help you go to Vercel or any hosting sites and launch it for you. My workflows is pretty great that I literally have it access to my Vercel and my GitHub. It launches a GitHub, which is hosting the code locally online for people that may not know. It hosts the GitHub, then it pushes it to Vercel combined with a domain, and I have a website that's fully done, and I can literally check on my phone and say, hey, can you optimize this for the mobile? This isn't ideal, X, Y, and Z, and it makes the website, it does the landing page, it finishes it all up and ships it, and I don't have to do anything. That's like the beauty of it. You can use Telegram, Discord, iMessage, or you can use these other tools that people are building and just connect it with them. There are other tools out there besides mine. They all work pretty good.
Do you mainly communicate with your agents through your tool, or do you still use like a Discord or a Telegram?
So I was using Discord. Funny enough, they like banned me for chatting too much or something. So I just got off of Discord because twice it happened. I'm like, what? I'm like talking to the agent so much, it thinks it's like spam or a bot. So I only use what I built, and I have it on my phone as well. So it connects the same sessions and everything from the computer to your phone anywhere in the world, and it's all secure. It's not like it's any issues with security because it uses this really cool and free app, Tailscale. All you do is you download it. Yeah, Tailscale, you download it on your computer, you download on your phone, and then it connects any URL that's on your computer to be viewed on your phone. So it literally works hand in hand. I put my computer down in bed. Last night I shipped the newest version of it from bed, and I tweeted about it, and it works really easily. Claude launched the remote control thing, and I literally had that in February, and I built it, and it's just like when I realized that I'm able to put out these things that these labs are doing, but just slower, because obviously they're doing it more enterprise and they have more staff, so that they don't focus on everything. I realized that I can just build anything, that everyone wants. And I'm actually working on something else for the open source community for benchmarking new models and actually figuring out what should I use on my hardware, because there's a gap where all these models are coming out. I had open source model release post do 1 million views. And what I realized is like people love this because you can run it on your local hardware, but nobody really knows what the benchmarks or what it actually runs because there's not a place to kind of see it. You see all the agentic baseline benchmarks or all these things that are out there online that compare the models, but when you use the model, it's completely different. Or if you have certain hardware, it's different. So I'm building a system where people upload their results on their hardware, and it's all automated, so everything's done, and everyone can actually see, like, hey, I should use this model with this harness, with this setup, because that's the other thing. You can use these models by themselves just to chat, or you can connect them to Hermes or OpenClaw and chat as well, but nobody even knows how they perform inside of the harnesses. So that's like my next project right now. And it's just for people to be able to know better, because people don't.
Right. Like the Mythos, the unreleased like Claude Mythos that they're like hyping up. We were talking a little bit before you joined about this. The numbers are crazy, but like what I'm sure that will perform well inside of any harness. But just to, will it perform 25 or 30% better than Opus 4.6 inside OpenClaw? Like it's hard to know until you actually use it in production. Now, Quantic, I am assuming that you're loving where this conversation is going, because it brings us into our next topic, which we've got about 20 minutes left. I just have to stop before we jump there. And before I pass you the mic, Quantic, I have to let everybody know that our guy, Eric, Outsource, has been dropping bars since he got in. We're talking about ownership, okay? So he no longer uses, he said, Discord did me dirty. They wouldn't let me, they thought I was spamming because I was talking to my agents 24/7. We've talked about using open source models, all these tools, instead of doing, relying on these big labs or, big infrastructure. So Quantic, let me kick it over to you. This is amazing. You can just build shit, you said. Make sure we clip that. He said you can just build shit. Amen. Hallelujah. Go ahead, Quantic.
Yes, sir. And this is, look, I'm going to talk now openly about issues and what's happening in the world in general. So first of all, what happened is that once Anthropic did this stuff, we got hit, right, at Web3 Matters, right, Cobi? All our system kind of failed. What happens as well is that we had to transition to Hermes, of which I have no idea, in the sense that, Cobi had to start doing all of this stuff on his own urgently, and we are like, we need to fill those gaps, right? And we need to start learning new things. And if you trace back, what's happening really is like a very common effect, which is a network start building something, people get and start building on top, and then the owners of the network, in this case, Anthropic for Claude Code, they decide to change their policy. And what happens with all the rest, we are all screwed one way or another. That's what happens, right? And so then you start asking the question, okay, what can I do as a builder to protect myself against this? And one of the potential answers is trying to own and build your own stuff, right? As much as possible. So how to deal with that? Right now, we at Web3 Matters are working hard against the clock to figure that out, because we don't want that the new policy of whoever we decide to build on top affect our business. I think this is a fair thing to want, right? To desire not to get disrupted each time one of these large companies decided to change things. So then the question becomes, okay, what can we really do about it in terms of ownership? One of the things that we are discussing right now is, first of all, yes, make sure you utilize as much as possible open source tools. And with the current power that you have in terms of development, you can build your own stuff, your own solutions, right? I think Eric gave some nice pointers around that. Then the question is like, okay, I can build some things. I have to rely on other things, because you're not going to build the entire internet or entire cloud service, or maybe you are if you're crazy, but most of the people are not going to do that. Most of the people are going to rely on some tools that are paid and owned by others, and others that are open source and that they control. So the question is, where should we draw the line, and what is the best strategy so that in the future you don't get disrupted by these particular situations of a network changing a policy? So first of all, I would like to hear from Eric, what are his thoughts around this, and then we can go in this order. First, then you, Cobi, a second, and I will go last.
Awesome. So yeah, I guess that you guys already mentioned that you kind of want to transition to Hermes. What I noticed with Hermes versus OpenClaw is Hermes works great out the box, and Hermes works great with any model. So it does this thing where it gives you so many tools, and the model is pretty much equipped with a whole bunch of skills out the gate, and it works no matter what. So the first thing I would tell you guys is to just do Hermes migrate. It's a command on Hermes, and you get your OpenClaw stuff set up over there, and then you can use local models that you have hardware to, or if you don't have good hardware, you can even use cloud local models. So for example, GLM came out with a new model. It's really large. You can't really run it on consumer hardware. It's probably like 500 gigs of VRAM. You can run that on the cloud, which will be fractions of what Claude Opus takes to run, for example. It won't be as good. It's GLM 5.1 to be exact. It won't be as good. It scores really high benchmarks compared to OpenAI 5.4 and Opus, but you can pretty much get that production quality if your agent setup is there. So what I would do now is get your agent set up as close to enterprise, that's what I tell my agent, as possible. Build the things that you need around it. Have Opus if you have access to it, do it. Even use Claude Code on the side to kind of power it. Figure out a way to get it in there if you don't have specific access to it. I would use 5.4. They're pretty bullish on the open source for now. They see the gap that Anthropic isn't giving. So I would use that. Get your agents to where they need to be, dialed in, and then if anything, experiment with the top open source models, Quen 3.6, GLM 5.1, etc. So those models will always be there, open on cloud. You don't have to run them on your hardware.
Okay, sick. So like basically Quantic, you know, where asked like for where do we draw the line between what we own, what we rely on? And the craziest thing about being an AI and how much we're all three of us are in the weeds. What Eric just said and what what anything that I say could easily change in 5 days. It could change tomorrow, right? But yeah, I would probably echo, like if you had a gun to my head right now and you said, what do you own, what do you not? I would probably go there, right? I would maybe have use Claude to like work on things via Claude Code, but not like in the agent harness. GPT 5.4 is maybe that like orchestrator agent. And then spend a ton of time with the orchestrator to dial in the entire to the framework or like the knowledge, the skills. What would you call that, Eric? The things that you put around your agent, right? Skills,
Yeah,
memory, blah blah blah.
You can always run a loop. Anthropic just posted something about how they use Sonnet and Opus is the reviewer. It's this thing where I've been doing it actually. I had like usage issues with 2 max plans I had, and I noticed that I was running out. This is around the time where Anthropic was throttling usage. If you guys are aware, they were throttling usage a few weeks ago. And what I realized is, hey, I can just use Sonnet as the orchestrator, but Opus first to plan everything. Sonnet carries it out. I use Codex to actually code everything. Codex is honestly better, finds more vulnerabilities and things, but it's just not fun to talk to. And then after the entire workflow is done, I'll say, hey, spawn Opus, review everything, see how it specs against your first, spec, and see what's missing if anything is missing. Write another spec for Sonnet to spawn Codex. So it's literally a big loop of the best models to save quota and save usage.
Yeah, and this is the same thing that I've heard from Alex Finn, which is like essentially his recommendation, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, if you know, of course, use Opus as the orchestrator, and then try to run all the other thing with local models, and just have this orchestrator making sure that tasks are completed and that things are working properly at a higher level.
Exactly. And you don't need to use it as much to burn through so much usage. You can still use, let's say, $100 or $200 of Claude credits a month without the OAuth. And it can just kind of be in the loop where you have it. And you don't really need it only if you want to ship like production enterprise tools. Like what I showed you guys wouldn't be possible with like an open source model. GPT 5.4 probably, because I used it to code everything, but like the quality and how everything works, it's very difficult. Many bugs, themes, the output of what it spits out looks too AI generated. You know, it's just like stuff like that. But if you just use it in the loop, definitely 100%.
Sick. Yeah. Okay. Cool, dude. This is some super solid alpha. Question. For folks who this is for folks in the audience or maybe watching the recording. We did. If you missed this part, Eric did talk about like what he would do if he was brand new and wanted to maximize something he was already doing, not to chase some crazy Polymarket pipe dream to that an agent's going to make you rich. But how would he do it if he just started to basically help him do the shit he's already doing? Eric, do you find when you give people that advice of talk to ChatGPT, it'll give you some commands to run in the terminal, do you find that people, even though they have the commands given to them and it's just copy and paste, do you find that people are still scared to open a terminal?
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I built what I built, and they do work standalone. Like they run the OpenClaw and install it in the background and everything for people. Because I know, like, at the end of the day, I have friends that I tell, hey, set this up. It's been 3 months. I've been telling them since day one. They haven't set it up. And I know how important it is. So I really think people just need to get over it and realize this is the future. I literally bought the domain building the future because we're in the future. We just have to build it, and that's like my landing page, what I have.
I love the mindset here, Eric, but just one quick clarification, because I was checking out your GitHub and it seems that you started in 2025, at least on that public profile. So are you like a developer? Do you have a technical background, or you just started vibe coding a few months back?
So I initially honestly started with Bolt.new last year, just making landing pages. Bolt.new is just like lovable. So I just made landing pages. I even built like a SaaS for my business with it, but it builds an alpha product, and then we developed it in Cursor. But I really don't have any development background. I literally just know how to talk to agents, and I literally sit at my computer as soon as I wake up, let's say 9 a.m. to as soon as I go to sleep at 2 a.m. So I'm on my computer all day, every day, my MacBook. It helps me be mobile and working and not like sitting at a desk all the time. And you can do it too. Anyone can literally sit there and, hey, what's on the agenda today? Your agent asks you, hey, I want to focus on these 3 things. Help me do it. Something quickly I wanted to share with you guys is what we were just talking about as far as the last topic really quickly about the agentic loop. And I just want to visually show you guys and like your users. This is the skill. This is inside of OpenClaw that I built. A specific skill for workspace dispatching and how it runs in the loop. So for example, it does an 8-step system. User says build X and Y. It reads the data. It infers the goal. It breaks the goal down into separate tasks for agents, displays the breakdown for the user. It also has an autonomous mode, so you just click it, it runs in a loop. The agents run in a loop based on the given goal. Or you can checkpoint. Every time you hit a checkpoint, you approve it or deny it. So it uses the orchestrator on autopilot. If it hits a certain quality threshold, it'll auto approve it. Then it'll create the project file. It'll set up a cron to review the outputs of the agents. And then for each task that's spawned, it does the same loop. And then it pretty much does this in autopilot by itself. So it's a full breakdown of how you should run agentic loops with good models or not good models.
Right, and the framework is so tight that like this is how you could get a less good model to act like it was a little bit better because of the guardrails you've given it. Did you ever play around with like the superpowers? That's a repo. It's got a bunch of skills like this, like loops, and then the Ralph loop. That went viral a few months back. Were you inspired by that stuff and then made it like tighter?
So I honestly don't really even use the stuff that's out there, just because I take inspiration from it after I built something. So as much as I'm using these tools, I'm trying to figure out a way to better optimize, and what my goal is somebody else's goal. So I know somebody wants to spec a project and have it done. They don't really need to look at it for certain things. So I literally just figured it out how I want it to be done. And then I realized, oh, Paperclip does the same thing, or oh, this Ralph loop kind of does the same thing. Take inspiration from this, make it better. So, you know, that's kind of what I'm finding. And what I'm finding is all of this is out there. We're just researching it and publishing it, because this is the workflow, or the ideal workflow that everyone wants, you know? And it's firsthand user experience of me figuring out, like, this is what it should be. And this is kind of how I'm automating my workflow. So that's just,
I love it.
Yeah, that's just how I noticed everything.
That's great. And guys, one final question, perhaps for both of you, which is, I've noticed that there are two main issues or barriers for newbies, right? One is like they believe in all of this stuff is like too technical, so literally just being scared about the terminal, which I think we cover pretty well during this live stream. But then the second is cost, meaning, okay, I might want to try and spend my time to figure this thing out, but I'm not going to spend any money. So I'm not going to spend $200 with Claude Code or whatever. I just going to run things, everything open source and locally. Is that going to work for me? So the question for you is this something that you would actually recommend to do, like just for experimenting, like just go there, and can you realistically try for free and make this thing work?
Yeah, good question. Honestly, you can. And what I figured out in the beginning is you should just skip all the tinkering and figuring out, because that's kind of like a year ago, you know, for my experience, because I did it a year ago. I was trying to do the same loops and stuff last year. It just wasn't there. And just skip it and go to the models that already exist. And it doesn't cost too much money. There's a $20 ChatGPT subscription. If you can't say, hey, I'm not going to get 2 cups of coffee this month to try to build something online, then, you know, that's a different problem. So I would just invest the $20, even the 200. Yeah, hey, 200 is a lot of money. But if I can't figure out how to offset my expenses for that month to try something new, if I have the time, you know, not everyone has the time, I'm going to do it. And that's exactly what I did. And everyone should do it. You can even use the open source models. They're free on OpenRouter. There's a whole bunch of free models that you can run, and it automatically chooses the next best model for you. So you don't even have to pay for anything. The quality of the output, it might not be there, but at the end of the day, you still get to test with it. There's also like Minimax or certain coding plans that are out there that are good, cost-effective wise. The outputs aren't going to be enterprise, but you can still get your feet wet, build a portfolio if you're a video editor, automate your real estate lead system a little bit if you already have it. You know, you can connect any app to it. Just explain what you need and it can do it, really.
Right, exactly. And like most people out there have a thing, right? If they're not doing this, if this isn't their thing, they have a thing. Like you said, the real estate example, the video editing. Like if you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitter, like we are, people, everyone has a thing, right? Whether they're good at it or not. To your question, Quantic, would I suggest that somebody does that if they have a year or more worth of experience playing with this shit? I think that would be a cool experiment to have a whole, you know, maybe a dedicated gateway or paperclip company or however you want to spin it, of only open source models just to play with, to test it. That could be some cool content actually too. It's like the road to 1K MRR with all open source models. That's like a cool content idea. Somebody steal that. But if you're brand new, hell no. Spend the $20, run it on your laptop and experiment. Like, I know everyone was freaking out before, how we even talked about at the beginning of the stream, like, oh, don't give them access to this and that. I would still say don't let them go crazy and give them access to everything, but you're probably not going to you know, blow up your computer by just testing GPT 5.4 and Hermes or an OpenClaw for $20. I think I had a clip. Exactly. I had a clip that did well. Like, dude, don't buy one fucking pizza this month if you can't. Like you said, if you can't spend an extra $20 or if you can't save $20 somewhere else in your life, you got bigger fish to fry than trying to make an agent. You need to go to like a therapist or some shit. I don't know. Go ahead, Quantic.
I love it, guys. Okay. I want to follow on this. Just one final question. I know that we have to close, but it's been like such an amazing conversation. So thank you both for entertaining this. Final question, super practical for a newbie. Okay, we now convinced these guys that is worth, the $20 subscription to ChatGPT with OpenAI, whatever, and then utilizing that in Hermes. What exactly should they do? What exactly should they like allow access to the first time? And what else do they have to like, stay alert or be aware of? Like a step-by-step process.
Yeah, great question. So the first thing I would do is either use Docker. Docker's very simple to set up, sandbox it, or another user, not admin. Mac is very easy to set that up with. Windows, not so much. You need some like PowerShell admin stuff. That's what I've seen. So I think Mac is very easy. I do a different user. It only has access to his files. The next thing is use a capable model first to set up your stuff. GPT 5.4 is good. The usage is great with the $20 plan. If you use something like another model, it might just not do the right things. It might change stuff that you don't want it to, but only give it access to certain things. What I mean by that is you don't give it the skills or the context of anything that you don't want it access to. It won't be able to search the web, or it won't be able to go on your browser or any of these things if you don't tell it to. And if you don't have it running certain cron jobs, which are automated jobs that do certain things automated, and if you don't give it the right guardrails. So for example, I have it reviewing my group chats with my clients, and I just have it on read only, very strict. I have it in a Discord with my employees, and it only reads the Discord, very strict. You don't interact with anyone. It's read only, very strict rules. If you use another model, it may drift around that. But if you use like a 5.4, it'll be very strict. And all you have to do is review the rules and whatever it's specifically setting up for that, and make sure it's bulletproof. Tell it to make sure it's bulletproof. Also, you should definitely tell it certain things that are not, don't leak this, X, Y, and Z. Put a very strict, guidelines around things that you don't want leaked. And the agent should follow those rules. It's very simple.
Yeah, I think my advice too would be the same. It would be to start on a $20 plan. Put it in a Docker container, and if you don't know what that is, you just ask ChatGPT, like before you get it, say, hey, help me make a plan to start to make my very first ever AI agent using OpenClaw or using Hermes or whatever. And I would pick that one thing that you haven't done yet that you've been thinking about. All right, we've been talking about bringing our newsletter back to life, right? So if I was in this position, I would say, all right, well, there's that one thing I want. Let's make a newsletter agent or a newsletter agent company to help me, I don't know, get 10,000 newsletter subscribers in 6 months, right? Like give it a goal, a task, like a overarching big task, and then an overarching goal. And then I would spend time in ChatGPT or in the Claude desktop app talking about it with a regular LLM before you even go. Docker, $20 plan, make a plan file with your agent, pick the thing that you have been waiting to do, and then have a top model like GPT 5.4 build it for you based on like your plan file and then the rules and shit too, of course. And if you don't know any of the shit we're saying, like if you're like, oh, this all makes sense, but then this thing doesn't make sense. Once you have things set up, you can just ask your agent and make sure you tell them to look at documentation and not to just guess and shit like that. So that would be my.
You make a really good point. Really, you can ask ChatGPT for the same things that you might want to ask your agent and see what's out there. And then give it the context like, hey, I'm setting up this agent. Can it do it for me? And can it do it better? Because some things that you want to do already exist and ChatGPT can help you. It just can't really automate stuff for you. And some other things that it'll guide you how to set it up and write that markdown file that you mentioned. The markdown file is just a plan or a spec. The agent, just drops a whole bunch of specific information about what you want to build. So you have that context going into stuff. The benefit of using OpenClaw or Hermes is the memory is unlimited. ChatGPT, as soon as you get to a certain point in a chat, it just doesn't work. So that's the benefit you guys need to understand with these OpenClaw harnesses, Hermes harnesses. It'll be able to recall anything from your memory. And a big tip I have is when I'm done with a session, I only go to around 200, 250K context per session. I make sure I say, hey, can you write a handoff for the next session? This is automated already, but I always do it. Write a handoff for the next session. What did we accomplish? What's next? What's left on our list of things to do? And that's it. It writes it. And the next session starts. I /new. That means I start a new session, new main session. And then the next session just picks up where it left. And I say, hey, can you review what we did last session? Get some fresh eyes on it. Review what we did last session. This was my goal. What are we needing to do? This is what it built. Send it a screenshot. I needed to do this. Okay, cool. It'll just continue going off of the spec that's already in the memory.
That's the biggest alpha right there is the handoff. Like, not only can you hand off from ChatGPT and say, write me a prompt to give to my OpenClaw agent, but handing off between sessions. And it's so funny, literally at like 1 a.m. last night or this morning, I guess, I've been making like training videos with Notebook LM for Quantic, for Trav on our team, for Castra on our team, to know how to be a good human with, like, how to be a good teammate when your teammates are AI agents inside of these.
That's nice. You should post an article about that. That's a really good article.
I think I might. I have been building context for how long, so we might as well, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, 100%, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a wonderful space. I don't know if you guys want to share a few final words before we close. On my end, I do have to say that this conversation about keeping it real with all the things that are happening with agents and how people should be using it and why, I think it's a huge unlock and inspiration for anyone watching this. Go right now, get your ChatGPT whatever subscription, get Hermes, get OpenClaw, and start tinkering with this stuff. Automate something easy for you, and just play with it. I think that's the main lesson here. We have a wonderful story here with Eric and with Cobi as well, and we're going to continue doing the same and teaching you all of this each Friday at 4 p.m. UTC.
Yeah, awesome, bro. You guys do a great job here. I'll definitely be tuning in, sharing this a lot. I love the crypto space and everything that's in there. I love what you guys are doing. I wish it could be more user-friendly for people that don't know stuff, because that's my approach. Is like, I don't really know too much about it. Just kind of with the AI agent stuff, I didn't know too much about it, but I sat there on Twitter. I sat there on ChatGPT. I tried to figure it out because it was really interesting to me. And I think everyone just needs to start today. Your computer works. If you have 1 hour to just set aside for this, do it. If you have a job, if you're in school, literally set 1 hour before you go to sleep. Talk to ChatGPT, figure out what you want to do, whatever your goal is. If you're in a business you don't like or a place you want to get to, you want to find a product, anything that you want to do, you just brain dump, let it know everything, and then you can build it. We're in the future now. It's not like the future is just going to appear. It's literally now. We have computers that do work more than humans, and people don't really understand that. We're in a bubble, so take advantage of it, that you're aware of it and you're seeing this.
Right. Eventually this will be common knowledge, just like people that Googled things for the first time were like fucking innovators. They were, I'm on Ask Jeeves, and you guys don't know how to search. Like, that's where we're at right now, I think. Eric, shill your repos, whatever you want to shill, dude. Like, we owe you. I'm like super indebted to you. For anybody knowing, I just I found Eric in a comment section on X, DM'd him. I'm like, bro, gotta have you on the show. You're a legend. Eric, please shill anything you want.
Perfect, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me in here. I literally just started building stuff at the end of last year. Not really, shipping stuff just from January. And now my repo crossed 1,000 stars in 2 weeks, the most recent one. The original one, the ClawSuite one, which is, you can find it at outsource-e / ClawSuite, SUITE. That one you can find for OpenClaw. which is this one right here. I'll just pull it up for you guys to see. This is the OpenClaw, best interface that you want. I'm biased. I built it. You have everything that you want in here. Terminal, you have a task board to look up all your tasks, anything that you want, even all your sessions, and everything from your OpenClaw gateway is also able to be found in here. So it's honestly the best tool for your systems in case you're wanting to get into it. It's kind of hard to use it, know what is happening. And then as far as for Hermes, if you guys are using Hermes, this is the repo that just crossed 1,000 stars. It's the same tool, but just for Hermes. So this is me actually in conversation with Hermes. I have a built-in context meter. So when I'm getting certain thresholds, it lets me know. File Explorer right here. So if I want to talk and go through my files and everything, even have like a built-in inspector to see what the agent's doing, all those things. It has a terminal as well. It has cron jobs, a memory system, knowledge, LLM, you name it, literally, and even profiles. I guess the profiles is not on here, but I do have the profiles set up, and skills. So literally, as what you would want it to be, it's literally built already. You can find it online on Twitter, Hermes Workspace, or ClawSuite.
Sweet. And for those who missed the URLs or the names or anything, I'm gonna write a like a summary, kind of a breakdown recap, basically, of the stream, and I'm gonna put the both links to both of those repos, and I'll make sure to tag you, Eric, so listeners, viewers, Mr. and Mrs. Listener can come and find you. So for me, final words. Again, yeah, thanks for joining us. Soup, I love that you hopped in last minute. Shout out to Trav. Hope everything's going good. And looking forward to seeing you next week. You can just build shit. That's my final words, really. You can just build shit. I have one more confession to make. It's been 2 months, and my ego doesn't want to admit this, but it's safe to say that in the current form of what we've been doing with Poly, our original agent, Poly, that trades on Polymarket, the thesis has failed, and this is an L in the L column. I'm here. This is the definition of building in public. I failed and lost $100 basically on Polymarket, and so thesis is an L. On to the next one. So all right, cool. Got that out of the way. Like Quantic said, we're here every time, or every Friday at noon, on Twitter, Twitch, not today Twitch, but normally Twitch, pump.fun. And all of our profiles as well. Quantic, let's close it out.
Just a final comment here. Amazing. Thank you so much again, Eric, for joining us. I hope we can have you in the future again. I think we have a bunch of other things to dive deeper. And there are new developments each week, so there is like a bunch of materials. And for Cobi, man, failure is good. I want people to actually start failing more in public and start embracing that. Failing means that you're trying something hard until the end and it doesn't work. How many people can you say are actually doing that in the world? A very minimum amount, I can tell you that. And that's why so many people are stuck, not making progress, overthinking things. And if you join the ShipYard, if you join our community, you are actually going to change your mindset and start shipping, which is the main thesis of our community. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next episode. Make sure to follow along Web3 Matters, Cobi, myself, Quantic, and Outsource on social media. And have a nice weekend. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody. Boom.